Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Stacy. If you're new here, welcome in. If you're coming back, I'm glad to have you. If you like what I talk about here and you want to see more, then I ask that you like, subscribe, and follow. But let's get into some interesting stuff. Let's talk about the times that we have been a nurse at home. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how we're different in our jobs and how we're different at home. How do we handle stuff when we're at work, right? If somebody has a cold, if somebody has the flu, if somebody has a fever, we're very compassionate in the world where we're working, right? We're soft, we're compassionate, at least I am. But I have noticed as a nurse myself that I tend to have less compassion for my family. Are all nurses this way, or is it just me? I have a tendency to think of the times that somebody has come with a fever or had a fever and it really turned out to just be a cold, or, I know when to worry, but I feel like maybe my reaction isn't as soft as when I'm giving care to my patients. Why are we like this? That's my question. I think we should talk about it. How are you at home with your family, with your children, with your friends? Do your friends call you for advice? Because here's what I find. When you are a nurse, your family will call you, your friends will call you, people will call you and ask you questions about their ailments. And the fact is, nurses are not doctors. We are very knowledgeable about symptoms and symptom management because we do a lot of the same thing over and over again. But I promise you, I do not know what that spot is or how to treat it. Maybe I've had experience with some rashes or dry skin or seen some skin cancers. Maybe I've seen some things in my career with high blood pressure. But I promise you, I'm not going to give you the same advice that a doctor's going to give you. I'm not a doctor. I am a nurse. I'm a nurse. And what you'll find is when you work in the healthcare field, and I don't think it's just limited to nursing, I feel like people will come to you and say, hey, I got this thing, and this is what's happening with me. What do you think it is? But they're not only going to ask you, they're going to ask everybody they know too. And now there's going to be all these conflicting information. So as a rule, I do not give medical advice. I don't do it. I will insert myself to my immediate family, like my husband and my children. I will definitely give medical advice where I probably shouldn't. But when it comes to my friends and family, I'm not giving medical advice because I'm not a doctor and that's not coming back to me. The thing is, when it comes to that spot or that skin rash or that blood pressure, there are so many variables that go into healthcare, right? There's so many variables that go into your personal health. What I find is I have been surprised. Maybe I have an idea in my mind, but I'm not sharing it with you. I promise you I'm not going to share it with you. If you call me, I'm going to tell you to call your doctor. I might say, that could be eczema. It looks like it could be eczema, but I really think you should call your doctor because maybe it's not. I think there's things that we know of that are clear. For example, if a person has ringworm, but then again, there's a dermatitis, there's dermatological conditions that look similar to ringworm. And there are things that you can do over the counter to treat things, but as with anything, if you've been experiencing something for a long time, you should go see a doctor. And I know nurses are the worst. We don't go to the doctor unless we're dying. But then again, nurses are the worst because we also know things, and so we feel like maybe we're dying. Is that just me too? Like, enough information to make you go, maybe that's cancer. Maybe I'm having a heart attack. And then, does it make you not pay attention? I had a nursing instructor who talked about her breast cancer journey, and she had her doctorate. And, she said, probably she saw all those symptoms and was probably in denial, if memory serves. And I think that as nurses, we have a tendency to know symptoms, we have a tendency to know things, but we will wait to go to the doctor, or because if we do go to the doctor, then the doctor just says, oh, it's nothing, it's benign. And then you feel like an idiot for wasting time of other nurses because they're busy, they're doing things, right? That's how I feel when I go to the emergency room. Like I'm having chest pain, I'm short of breath, I don't even want to go because my life is stressful, I'm a nurse, and I've had anxiety. But what if one time I ignore it and it really is a heart attack or something? I think that's the thing that keeps me checking up on myself when I need to. But we've been told, hey, you need to follow up with this doctor, you need to do this, and we don't end up doing it because we can't find the time, we can't justify it, we talk ourselves out of it. But when it comes to family and friends, they say, hey, you're a nurse, what can you tell me about this? We can't tell you anything. Don't ask us, please. Because we want to be helpful, we love you, but we don't know. We don't know. We don't know what that skin spot is, and we don't want to see your behind. We don't want you to show us things just because we see things. People will not hesitate to lift their clothes, pull down their clothes, show you things and say, what is that thing? Really? Oh, I don't want to see that. Just want to say that. I just want to give out a PSA for nurses. But how about when your kid gets sick or your husband gets sick or your wife, if you're a male and you're a nurse, they get sick? Where is the sympathy? Because we're like, take some Tylenol and go to bed, right? But that is not how we treat our patients in the real world. We are not like that outside of our home. Not to say that I don't have compassion, because when somebody is really sick, like your kids, they get that look in their eyes. They really are sleeping. They really are ill. Or your spouse, they really are not waking up. Like, I don't know if we have spidey sense and we just know when it's not that serious, but what about those times when it was serious and you missed it? I don't know if I've ever experienced that because, I have a child, my son. When he was little, I feel like I took him to the doctor for every little thing when he was a little guy, and maybe because of the way he was. But as they get older and you get to know them and you're around people, you don't get as panicked about it, right? When they're little and you're just getting to learn your child and you're learning their symptoms and you're learning who they are, you don't panic. But sometimes it's exactly what we didn't think it was. Sometimes it actually needs medical attention. And so I would say as nurses, something that I've been working on is trying to be more compassionate at home, because I definitely have a challenge of, for example, when nurses get sick, I know that we go to work when we feel bad. We go to work because nobody's going to cover us, and our boss is going to ask us 50 questions if we are calling in generally. I mean, that's my experience in the past when I was younger and I would have a cold or the flu or something. I remember when COVID happened, I had a fever of 103, and it was a very big inconvenience for my company that I was off work for so many days, but my fever would not break. And I thought I was dying for sure. And I remember how the nurse at work treated me as a nurse as if I was faking it. And she was like, you need to come back to work. And every day I needed to take a picture of my thermometer showing my fever. And I wouldn't lie. I would never just call in if I wasn't sick. I would not call in if I wasn't sick, because I will go to work sick and wear a mask. And I did go back to work wearing a mask after my fever subsided, and probably shouldn't have, because it was right at the beginning of lockdown and COVID was rampant and people were dying from it. So I think sometimes the way that we're treated when we are ill as nurses bleeds over into the way that we treat people that we depend on and that we are close to, unfortunately. So something I have been working on personally is looking at something and not poo-pooing it, not saying, oh, this isn't serious. I really want to look at the situation and see if it's something that needs something. How do you feel about your children when they're sick? Do you know when it's like serious and they need a doctor? Do you know when they just need some rest and some fluids? What are some things that you've experienced at home? Do you have friends that call you and ask you to diagnose them? You don't, do you? I'd love to talk about it in the comments. And if you like what I'm talking about here, then I ask that you like, subscribe, and follow for more. And let's talk about everything in the comments. And if you have any suggestions for things that you want to hear, I would love to know what are some questions that you have that you would want to talk about. I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.